All right, everybody. So on this video, I should have put this clip in the last video, but I guess it'll work here. I just am putting the axle back on, basically just bolting those airbags back up, bolting the axle back up. But on this video, we're going to talk about designing things and like when things fail, what do you do? Because like I didn't like look up a tutorial on how to build a collapsible bathroom or anything like that. I just simply started building and like did what I thought would work, and I failed. I think I failed at least twice. The first design, the box was just, way too heavy, and so I had to come up with this like shock thing that's in here, and it like pushes on this lever. That's what I'm unbolting right now. You can't really see, and I didn't film it that well, but that lever I'm holding down is being held up by two of those shocks. So that's why I'm pushing it up there, letting it come up easy, basically, because it's being held up by two of those shocks. They're the type of shocks that hold up like your SUV hatch on the back of your like, Suburban or whatever. And then on this side here, I'm gonna unbolt these because what I've done is I've purchased an air ram. And my idea here is that I can just take these shocks out and put an air ram in. And it has the lifting force that it should be able to lift this box up. However, unfortunately, I have done no math on how my levers are working, and I essentially uh but I think I did eventually do the math, and instead of putting like 300 or 400 pounds of weight on this air ram, which is about how much this box weighs, I think I end up putting about like 2,000 pounds on this air ram, and it is just like unable to lift this box here. So here's the air ram that I got. I'm gonna try to, just basically build a bracket system for it, weld it in, and see if it, will lift. Now the problem is that I've put a lever on this. The top box has a lever system because it needs to go up more than the lever is tall. So like if the lever's about 30 inches tall, the box needs to move up about 60 inches. And so I put a lever on it to account for that difference. And basically, the ram moves up 30 inches on one side of the lever, but the other side of the lever moves 60 inches. It's very hard to explain that process, but in doing so, what I've done is actually made the box pushing down on this ram with a lot more force than what the box actually weighs. And so it doesn't end up working at all. So I've got my mount, and then I'm right here, I'm welding it in, and basically this is just going to hold the bottom of the air ram, and the top of the air ram is going to be pushing up on that lever.
Might have to do that. I don't know. Okay, ready?
Ready? So the first test, it just deflects out towards me instead of going up. It goes to the side. This is the second test. We actually moved the air ram, thinking if we had a different angle it might work. But you see there, that lever isn't connected anymore to the top box. I cut all of that out. Show that I wanted to test to make sure that the ram was actually working because I hadn't figured out what I had done yet. I think it took me a couple days to figure out exactly what I had done in putting a lever. If you look at the far end of that metal rod that's being pushed up, essentially, if we push down on that side, we're just adding a whole bunch of extra weight in leverage on the ram. And so the ram is just unable to push the weight. I think this thing's rated for like maybe 600 pounds or something like that. It's not hydraulic. It's it's a pneumatic, and so the weights are going to be a lot lower than what a hydraulic ram would probably do. If that thing was hydraulic, it would probably have lifted it, I would guess. I would imagine that hydraulics will do a lot more weight than air. Air is compressible, and liquid isn't, and so you can get so I was defeated by that, and I think I just decided, well, I might as well do what I can and put these, swing arms or whatever we're going to call them back on the suspension and put the rear suspension completely back together. The paint is dried now, and so, I think this ends up being like the final location of the axle. So I just basically got those U-bolts and some metal strapping there. All right, so let's talk about what I'm going to actually do with this cylinder. I went ahead and I started to build this bracket here, and what I'm going to do is this cylinder is going to be the lift jack for the tongue. It's going to be the tongue jack. So basically I can just push a button on the front and lift the front of the jack instead of using electric. I already have air, so I might as well just use air and try this out. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody do this before, and so once again, it's like I'm trying things that may not work here. So let's just build this bracket real quick. So I basically just went through and cut these pieces out how I needed them so that I could just weld them together and create like a good strong. It needed to be really strong because I was sure it was going to deflect to one side or the other. So this is like, I want to say it's at least, I think it's like 1/4 inch angle iron. It's pretty thick. It's, at least 1/8 inch, but it might be 1/4. And so basically I cut the angle out like that so that it would weld together and create one like big box at the top. So right now I'm going to just kind of weld it here, and then I'll weld the two sides together. Alright, so I messed this up. I built this bracket and it's too short. It's a good thing I waited to weld it until I had this at drop height, because it just doesn't, it's not long enough. Which I could like raise the frame up there, but I'm just gonna lower the bracket instead. So that's the idea. Put this here, right there, and it will. Okay, so I need to drop this down to there.
Guess we're gonna test the welder's ability, because I'm just gonna butt weld more angle to this. So I need 6 more inches. So I'll cut 2 more 6-inch angles and then weld them to this.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for this video. I basically just went through and primered and painted almost all of the rest of the trailer. Obviously, I like brushed that off, primered all that little like mount there. You know, and that front jack, air jack, whatever, air cylinder, it works pretty well for lifting the front. Sometimes I got to give it a little help, you know, depending on how the rest of the trailer is situated. Because I will tell you, I did finish this project. This footage is like a year old or something. I've used this trailer many times at this point, but you know, we just painted all the wood, decking gray, everything gray, and then just with there's going to be some black accents I add later. I don't know if I did any video of the accents, but so then I just painted that bracket there, and well, thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this.